Ubuntu Church of Healing. Anyway, Karen's worked down there a lot with Andrew and can talk about stuff that I don't want him to talk about today. And then, then we're going to have a break for a good hour with the demos outside. Thanks heaps for hanging in, guys.
Michael, tell people to go up to the Hemp Embassy.
Yeah, if you need medicine up at the Hemp Embassy, you can talk to people out here on the stall if you're wanting medicine or anything personal, what it's about. But the embassy's open every day. You can come to the embassy every day in town if you want to talk to someone about different medical applications. There's a couple of nurses usually there. It's a big thing nowadays. I agree. Here's Karen.
Thank you, Michael.
He's in Newcastle.
Okay, so my name's Karen Burge. I'm the Vice President of the Church of Ubuntu in Newcastle. And we've been working... I met Andrew almost 5 years ago. And when we started our clinic, he's been working in our clinic, and the majority of you know of him from his cannabis advocacy, which he's been doing for almost 30 years. And but in the clinic, and what he's taught me is mostly nutritional. 20% of what he was doing in the clinic was cannabis, but the other 80% was nutritional advice and support. We know that our body knows how to heal when we create the right environment. So, for example, reducing the toxins you're putting in and on your body will assist to create that environment. Drinking non-fluorinated water, for example, is something that he encourages. Don't drink tap water. A lot of people don't drink tap water because it tastes terrible. So a good filtered water, a plant-based diet. He recommends the colourful plant, like the fruit and vegetables, rainbow salads. And he taught me about the importance of adding hemp seeds to my diet. And since I added hemp seeds to my diet, I feel the changing in my diet, the adding hemp seeds and cannabis has assisted me to stop and reverse the effects of disease. I was suffering from Graves' disease, an autoimmune disease, and chronic fatigue, post-traumatic stress. So I use cannabis to assist me with those conditions, and I honestly believe it's stopping and reversing the effects of disease and ageing, I believe. A lot of people that see me that haven't seen me over the years are amazed at my appearance. I feel I look younger and healthier than I did when I was in my 30s and 40s. Chronic fatigue was a really big thing. In Newcastle, the clinic's on the ground floor and our apartment's up the top, and there was 44 stairs to the top. And what I found before I started cannabis, like you walk up about 10 stairs and there's a landing. So I'd walk up 10 stairs and I'd have to stop and catch my breath. And then I'd have to keep doing that. And after a few months on cannabis, hemp seeds and a plant-based diet, I started to run to the top. That's when I could see the real improvement. So working in a clinic, so basically my dad had a bad back, and I started to see people benefiting from pain relief with cannabis, and that was the first thing that sparked my passion. I was also living with the president of the hemp party, BJ Footer, and Sean Summit, and they started to teach me about cannabis along with Andrew, and I could just see the benefits of it. And then I met a little boy, Oscar, and he had 1,500 seizures one day. And his parents gave him a dose of cannabis oil, and the next day he had 5 seizures. And that was when I looked at him, this lifeless little boy, and that really sparked my passion. I thought, these children don't have a voice, but we do. And that was when I made the decision to dedicate my life to cannabis and advocacy and hemp seeds. So since that time, the last 4 years, it's been a pretty amazing journey in Newcastle, especially the last 18 months. I think the last 18 months was like living prohibition in 1937. Everyone's aware of all the propaganda in 1937, like marijuana will make white women want to have sex with black men and things like that, all that bullshit. Well, in 2017 was very much like that. Our doctor, Dr. Catalaris, was put in jail. He spent 21 weeks in jail. We had a beautiful child in our community that was starting to wave and smile for the first time. He's starting to smile and laugh for the first time in 3 years, and started to wave for the first time ever at the age of 4. until the facts falsely misled the police and came into our building with 10 police, 4 detectives, the drug squad, and took Little Chase, and that was 17 months ago. So he's been kept in a motel for that whole time. His health has regressed. He's living with uncontrolled seizures while his parents try and fight to get him back. So this is all, and you'll see it all. There'll be a movie or something one day called Chasing Hope, but definitely in our community last year, it was reliving the 1937 prohibition, and that was 80 years later. So, but definitely adding cannabis and hemp to your diet will improve your health, especially reducing the toxins you're putting in and on your body. Another thing that we've started, an initiative of Ubuntu, and the work we're doing is starting the Canna Nanas. So the Canna Nanas are a group of amazing nanas that are just as, like myself, passionate about the benefits of cannabis and hemp. We use it ourselves. Our next event will be in Melbourne. They've actually hired us a commercial kitchen, and we'll be doing cooking classes all weekend in Melbourne. So that's pretty exciting at the Hemp Health and Innovative Workshop on the 8th and 9th of December. So that's something that you can keep an eye out. We'll also be in Sydney next May. And also, if you could support Andrew, at the moment he doesn't have a website, but all of his blogs and information about his events will be on the Church of Ubuntu website. So the big court case is on the 5th of November. As a community, and for Andrew and all of us at Ubuntu, there's several others of us here, Belinda, Doonar and Suzette help. Our main reason for standing up is that we believe that all Australians deserve immediate, affordable access to cannabis. That's it. And, it's tough work being in the front line because we're up against Big Pharma, and we always knew, like our building is opposite a discount warehouse, and we always knew that the work that we're doing would be one day proving that whole plant cannabis would always be superior to synthetic or isolated compound, which is what the government wants to give us, or give you all. So yeah, definitely as a community, and definitely Dr. Andrew Catalaris, he, like he says, he answers to a higher power, and the reason we do what we do and we risk jail, is because we want everyone to have immediate affordable access. And this plant should be grown for freely in our backyard. It's as cheap to grow as parsley. It's non-toxic. Adding cannabis and hemp to your diet will activate your endocannabinoid system, which I see it's like the mothership of our well-being. It governs your immune system, your endocrine system, your cardiovascular system, your metabolism. Its purpose is to achieve and maintain homeostasis, which is perfect equilibrium with your body, mind and spirit. And that's the intention of cannabis consumption. There's other plants that can also help with that, but the best thing you can do for yourself or any loved ones that are sick is to look at making some simple dietary changes. Add cannabis to your diet, grow it yourself if you have to. Fresh is the best. As your plants are growing, take the leaves off and put them in your smoothies. My health dramatically improved, took another huge step forward when I started adding fresh cannabis to my smoothies, and it was noticeable. Everyone around me was saying, "What are you doing now?" And so that was really good. We've also got a skincare range about to come out too, so it's skin food. I've had, since I started using it, my friends are saying, "What are you putting on your face?" I've gone, "It's a Canna Nana skin food," and they go, "I want some." So it just sells itself. But it is the purpose of this plant. It is our companion plant. It's a crime against our people, against our planet, that this is being withheld from us. And we need to stand in our power, and we need to stand up and say, no, we deserve to use this plant the way our ancestors have been. They've been using it for thousands of years as food and medicine. Our great-great-grandmothers were using it in salads, just like parsley, and making medicine when they need to. So yeah, some big things happening. So if you could, help support Andrew on the 5th of November, in Sydney, that would be good. Or even check it out, even sharing it on Facebook. There is an event on Facebook. a member of our community, Paul Robert Burton. He's doing a lot of work for Chase. We've got 5 cases in the Supreme Court now in our endeavour to try and get Chase returned to his family as well as his parents. So they're just trying to hide the fact that whole plant cannabis will be superior to synthetic or the isolated compound. So is there any questions? I'm going to let everyone have lunch now.
Do you want to say your website? You want to say your website?
Oh, the website is churchofubuntu.org. Thank you, Cisco. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
The consideration in regard to Chase, they're looking at putting the synthetic cannabis as an option, or is it the cannabis or none?
I'm not allowed to know anything about it. I'm not even allowed to have anything to do with him. They think that I'm a threat to him, even though his sisters call me Nanny and love me. So I'm not sure what they've done to him, but I just know that he is living with uncontrolled seizures. His health has declined. He's pretty much, I don't know if anyone saw Chase before they took him, but before he came to us, he just looked like any sort of child with epilepsy. They're in that comatose state, they're off their head on drugs, and you know, we all watched, everyone watched it on social media, they watched him come alive. So look at Chasing Hope. He just came alive, he was conscious of his family around him, and it was so beautiful to watch. You know, I told him I loved him one night, and he said something back to me, and everyone, the family was shocked. They thought, hadn't heard him talk before, but but I know his health, even his grandmother's allowed to talk to me, and she said they took him out for his birthday and he slept the whole day because he was just high on drugs, and they think...
He's doing so well.
Yeah, this is Belinda Doonar, she's another canon Nana, she'll be travelling with me to Melbourne.
Yes, and I've also been involved with Chase and his family. Before that at Queensland, we came down to New South Wales. I'm actually 30 years a registered nurse. I needed my licence back last year so that I could go and work down at the Church of Ubuntu, to continue on the good work that these guys have been doing, not only for adults but for children as well. There's been a lot of children that have actually benefited from the cannabis food concentrates, the protocols around diet, and again, fluids. And additionally, a whole host of other herbs are recommended to clients that actually come in looking for help when their doctors have given up on them. So it's 6,000 clients, I think, is what the Church of Ubuntu have attracted over the past 4 years. And I can tell you that the people that work there, the people that work around it, are the people that are compassionate and provide their time and their energy and their skills are very much appreciated. And we're always looking for new community members. So if you're heart-driven, heart-centred, you're really heart-focused, and you can see the benefit in your community with your family or yourself, we'd love to hear from you. We've got a lot of different projects on the books, and it's not just about medicine. So.
And when Belle was in Queensland, we're going to cut now, but she was in Queensland and came down to help us because I needed help, and she's lost over 30 kilos since she came and stayed with us.
30 kilos?
So 30 kilos, and I lost about 25 and achieved and maintained my ideal weight now for 2 years. And so cannabis and the hemp seeds and a plant-based diet will assist with that too.
So just before we get another question in here, just wanted to remind everyone, we're on the way to lunch now, more or less, and after lunch we have Dr. Beck coming here, another great talker, very interesting. The other thing is really the medical crew from the Hemp Embassy is saying it would be good if some people who want to inquire about medicine from here to take with them, to talk to the people around here outside. There's a Hemp Embassy store, and they would advise and give you a bit of a hint. As well as uptown where the Hemp Embassy is, we got a little bit of a dispensary there happening. So the other great thing is actually if you have a mobile phone, there's you could take all these sessions, which will be on YouTube under Main Can or Living Symposium, 2 weeks time. There's already 200 hours of other talks there, so it's good to maybe, try to catch as much. There's so much information for a lot of people. For me, you can't really digest it all. Thanks again, and here's the question coming.
I was having a conversation with an aged care nurse the other day, and about medical cannabis, and she said, yeah, it's good for some things, but it actually affects your liver, like can damage your liver, and that's something I have not heard before, so just wondering whether you could clear that one up for me.
So it was an aged care nurse?
Yeah.
Was she a registered nurse?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but
Or do you know how many years she'd been working in aged care?
not sure.
Well, she's handing out drugs to people living in high dependency units or self-assisted units. She would know that those drugs are actually listed on the TGA website, and they all have indications and they all have side effects. I actually did work in aged care myself prior to 2010, and I can tell you on one day, just in one shift actually, I probably to 45 clients in a nursing home dished out 300 tablets easily. Some of those tablets were in combination, and I can remember one patient in particular, she had 11 in one dose, like in one time slot. So she was incredibly unwell. So when it comes to cannabis and hemp, I've been researching it myself now for about 5 years, being a registered nurse for as long as I was and raised in Queensland. Talking about cannabis or having cannabis while you're a healthcare professional just wasn't on, right? So I was a prohibitionist up until 5 years ago when I recognised the need for it, particularly in childhood epilepsy. There's a story behind that, but I won't go into it today. But essentially, she's wrong. Cannabis is food, and if we respect it as food and we use it responsibly, we know what cannabis we're using, or what the ratios are, what the weed variety is, then we're doing all the right things. I'll stand here and totally admit it. I've been for nearly 2 years now using cannabis oils myself for health concerns, and I feel amazing. Like Karen said, it's nearly 35 kilos I've lost. Could you imagine me being this big, heavy nurse coming to see you at the bedside? Because that's what I was doing, trying to teach you how to look after yourself and be well. And yet I certainly didn't reflect that. I have major ambitions to really get to talk to nurses, just to try and get in their minds and just go, hey, I know you think you're doing the right thing, and in most of the cases you're there because you've got a big heart, but to refuse a patient a safe and effective therapy, it's kind of evil. I don't get it. It's like you find a safe and effective medicine, make it available. That's what you do. That's what you do. And Karen would like to say a bit more about that.
Dr. Catalaris, along with Dr. Beardman and other doctors that have travelled over from Canada to come and talk here at the Medican and the Mardi Gras, will all say that it's non-toxic to organs. The cannabis is one of the only medicines that is non-toxic to the organs.
Basically a vegetable.
Yeah, it's basic. We eat it as a vegetable. We see it more as food, and activating the endocannabinoid system and consuming it as food will assist you to stop and reverse the effects of disease, in my opinion. Yeah.
And can I just open up an invitation to any nurses, if there are any here today? If you are here today, it means you know a bit about cannabis and you love it. But if you've got any colleagues that need a bit of enlightenment from somebody that's actually I have researched it, and the last almost 2 years now I've been living it and walking it and talking it. Like, I feel like I'm a walking, talking cannabis plant. I really do. And I'd really love to provide that information to the nursing profession. It would be a privilege to do it, and I'm sure that there'd be a lot of them out there that would listen. I did specialise in oncology and haematology, by the way. So I was putting poison into people for years. There was a time there too where I actually worked for pharma, worked for CSL and GSK, selling the flu vaccine and some of the childhood infancy, or the infant vaccine, some of the travel vaccines, promoting those. But I also sold drugs for diabetes. That was a big seller. I did really well on that one because everybody's got it. So it wasn't hard to go to your doctor, go to a local doctor and say, hey, are you looking for a new drug? I got one. And they go, thank you, because my patients keep coming back and their sugars are out of control. But I can tell you, cannabis can actually turn around diabetes. It can turn it around. I've seen it happen. I know people that have told me that their insulin levels have levelled out on very minimal amounts of concentrates. And if they change their diet too, gee, that helps a lot. Yep. But yeah, I have lots of information for nurses, doctors as well. I think they might find me a nice little interesting person to speak to, because I'm no longer licensed. I handed my licence back with a clean record, can I tell you, after 30 years. And yeah, they might find it interesting anyway.
Yeah, so. And on a finishing note, we'll finish so you can all eat. Take your health back into your own hands. Like, you know, we even have police and that people say, how are you getting away with doing what you're doing? And I said, well, firstly we started, and I felt it was because we had intention, you know, our integrity. We had our integrity with the plant and the people. And then over the years, you know, I've spoken to a head public prosecutor in Newcastle, and he said, he said, you're doing no harm. No one's being harmed here. And I said, well, you actually need us here, because if you've got any loved ones that are sick, you know where to send them. And he said, absolutely. So I gave him our business card. Every police officer we meet, we hand them out our business cards and say, if you've got a loved one. And we tell them, you know, we're doing this for you because the safest natural treatment for post-traumatic stress, which police and all emergency workers have, is cannabis. And I've had a police officer saying that I finally sleep for the first time in 21 years, and I don't have the nightmares. And the thing it's the little things that bring me the most joy. Like this same police officer, his family, they said, we've had enough. And after a few weeks, he came back and he said, my family like me again. And I just, that for me, that's why I do what I do.
It's nice when your family like you, huh?
It's nice when your family like you, especially with the police. You know, they're just so, emergency workers, they're so traumatised, and they take that home and they take it out on their family, and they don't mean to. It tears families apart. So prohibition is a crime against all of us, every one of us. So we need to stand up now. The time to stand up is now. Thank you. Thanks, Sista.
Well, thanks everybody. There is a lunch break coming. Come back in about half an hour. Just remember, you're all activists here, so the only way we can change the law is by you guys breaking the law, okay? And
tell the judge why. If you want to grow cannabis, you go there and you tell him why. I'm saving my life.
Think about your privacy and whether or not you want your privacy on the My Health system.
Yeah. Beautiful. Take your health back in your own hands. Good luck, everyone. Thank you.